Imagine waking up and realizing the ground has disappeared. Below you, the world keeps moving. Cities light up at night, storms roll across oceans, and life continues without you. Your new home is an airplane, flying thousands of feet above Earth. The rules are brutally simple. Survive there for 30 days, never touch the ground, and you'll walk away with $250,000. It sounds like the easiest money you'll ever make until you discover what 30 days in the sky really does to a human mind. At first, almost everyone watching thought it was impossible. 30 days trapped inside a flying machine? Surely there had to be a trick. But there wasn't. Every minute had to be spent in the air. Land once, even for a second, and the challenge was over. No secret hotel rooms, no hidden breaks, just one aircraft, endless skies, and $250,000 waiting on the other side. But the real challenge wasn't staying in the air, it was staying sane. The idea came from a new generation of internet creators who understood something powerful. People no longer just watched entertainment, they wanted to watch impossible dreams become reality. Bigger risks meant bigger audiences meant bigger money. What looked like a crazy stunt was actually a carefully calculated business gamble worth millions in views, sponsorships, and global attention. But no spreadsheet could predict what would happen once the doors closed and the engines roared to life. The contestant climbed aboard, carrying little more than clothes, cameras, basic supplies, and hope. Friends cheered, cameras rolled, the countdown reached zero. Then the wheels lifted off the runway. That tiny moment changed everything. From that second forward, every hour became a battle against exhaustion, boredom, isolation, and pressure. The world below faded away. Ahead lay 30 endless days of sky. The first few hours felt exciting. Looking through the windows, every sunrise looked magical. Every sunset seemed painted by hand. The clouds felt close enough to touch. There was laughter, excitement, and endless confidence. Winning looked almost guaranteed. After all, how hard could sitting on a plane really be? But confidence has a funny way of disappearing when reality arrives. By the third day, time itself began to feel strange. Morning blended into afternoon, afternoon blended into night. The body stopped understanding what normal meant. There were no spontaneous walks outside, no fresh air, no quiet moments under open skies. Every breath came through the aircraft's ventilation system. Every sound was engines. Every vibration reminded everyone they were trapped inside a metal tube. Sleep became another enemy. Airplanes aren't designed to become someone's permanent bedroom. The constant engine noise never stopped. Turbulence arrived without warning. Even when sleep finally came, it was shallow and interrupted. A single rough patch of air could erase hours of rest. But the lack of sleep was only preparing them for something even worse. Then came the weather. Storms don't care about prize money. Massive clouds appeared on the horizon like giant walls blocking the path ahead. Pilots had to constantly change routes. Flights became longer, fuel calculations became more stressful. Every unexpected delay increased pressure on everyone involved. One bad decision could end the challenge instantly. Suddenly, surviving 30 days wasn't just about endurance. It became a complicated logistical puzzle stretching across continents. The internet loved every second of it. Millions tuned in daily, fascinated by a challenge that felt almost unreal. Social media exploded with debates. Some called it genius marketing, others called it madness. Every update generated headlines. Every flight became content. Every obstacle increased curiosity. Ironically, the harder the challenge became, the more valuable it was becoming for everyone watching. But popularity couldn't solve the growing problems inside the aircraft. Food started losing its appeal. Eating the same limited meals day after day slowly drained morale. Fresh ingredients became rare luxuries. Small cravings turned into emotional battles. Something as ordinary as a homemade dinner suddenly felt priceless. It's amazing how quickly people stop appreciating ordinary life until they no longer have it. Then came isolation. Even though there were people on board, the outside world slowly disappeared. Family became faces on video calls, friends became voices through headphones. Birthdays happened without them, news kept moving. Life continued on the ground while they floated somewhere above it. That's when the challenge stopped being physical, it became deeply psychological. Scientists have long known that humans aren't built for prolonged isolation. Space agencies spend years preparing astronauts for extended missions because loneliness changes the brain. Mood shifts become unpredictable. Small annoyances become massive arguments. Tiny mistakes suddenly feel catastrophic. What happened inside that airplane began following the exact same pattern. But nobody expected it to happen so quickly. Days blurred together until remembering what day it actually was became difficult. Every window showed different countries, different oceans, different clouds, yet somehow everything started looking identical. Excitement slowly transformed into routine, routine transformed into frustration, and frustration quietly transformed into desperation. Then came turbulence unlike anything before. The aircraft shook violently. Loose objects rattled across the cabin. Conversations stopped instantly. Even experienced crew members became unusually quiet. Looking outside revealed nothing but dark clouds surrounding the aircraft. For several terrifying minutes, nobody knew exactly how rough it would become. It eventually passed, but something inside everyone changed afterward. They realized how fragile the entire challenge truly was. What happened next surprised even the organizers. Instead of quitting, the contestant became more determined. Every difficult moment made walking away feel even more painful. They had already sacrificed days of comfort. They had already endured sleepless nights. Quitting now would make all that suffering meaningless. This is called the sunk cost effect, one of the most powerful forces in psychology. The more we invest, the harder it becomes to stop, even when stopping might actually be smarter. Businesses experience this every year. Companies pour billions into failing projects simply because they've already spent billions before. Investors refuse to sell losing investments because they hope tomorrow will magically fix yesterday's mistakes. Humans hate accepting losses. That same emotion was now unfolding 30,000 feet above the ground. Sponsors continued watching closely. Every extra day meant more exposure. More headlines meant more advertising value. What looked like one person chasing prize money had quietly become a business ecosystem involving brands, production crews, pilots, logistics teams, advertisers, and millions of viewers. The challenge wasn't just generating entertainment anymore, it was generating serious money. But money creates pressure. Pressure creates mistakes. And mistakes create stories no one ever forgets. Halfway through the challenge, exhaustion became impossible to hide. Eyes looked heavier, smiles appeared less often, conversation slowed. Motivation had to be manufactured every single morning. The finish line still felt impossibly far away. Half completed somehow felt worse than barely starting. Then something unexpected happened. The skies finally became beautiful again. Crystal clear mornings stretched endlessly across the horizon. Sunlight reflected off oceans below like liquid gold. Mountain ranges emerged through clouds with breathtaking beauty. For a brief moment, the airplane stopped feeling like a prison and started feeling like the best observation deck on Earth. Those peaceful moments reminded everyone why humans have always dreamed of flying. But peaceful moments never last forever. Mechanical systems require constant monitoring. Every unusual sound catches attention. Every maintenance check becomes critical. Airplanes are incredibly safe because professionals obsess over tiny details. During a challenge lasting 30 consecutive days, those tiny details multiply. Every landing for refueling required precision. Every takeoff restarted the clock. Every schedule depended on perfect coordination. The audience rarely saw those invisible battles. Behind every viral moment stood teams solving endless problems around the clock. Flight permissions had to be approved, fuel had to be available, weather had to be monitored, crew members needed rest, cameras had to keep recording. Every successful day represented thousands of invisible decisions made correctly. One failure could destroy everything. As the final week approached, something fascinating happened psychologically. The goal suddenly felt close enough to touch. Energy returned. Hope grew stronger. The countdown no longer felt impossible. Each sunrise wasn't another obstacle anymore. It was proof that victory was approaching. But that's exactly when the hardest moments often appear. Athletes call it the finish line trap. Marathon runners frequently struggle most during the last miles. Entrepreneurs often make reckless decisions right before success. Investors panic just before markets recover. The closer people get to victory, the greater the emotional pressure becomes. They become terrified of losing something they don't even own yet. The same fear now filled the cabin. Every unexpected vibration felt dangerous. Every delay felt enormous. Every hour suddenly mattered more than ever before. Millions continued watching. The comment sections exploded with predictions. Would they actually finish? Would something unexpected happen? Could bad weather ruin everything at the last moment? Nobody wanted to miss the ending. Then came the final stretch. After nearly a month in the sky, ordinary life felt almost unfamiliar. Walking outside had become a distant memory. Feeling wind directly on the face seemed almost unreal. Grass, sidewalks, traffic, parks, simple things most people ignore every day, had become symbols of freedom. The engines kept humming, the clock kept ticking. Every minute felt slower than the last. Then, finally, the impossible became reality. 30 days, still airborne, challenge complete. When the aircraft finally landed for the last time, the wheels touching the runway sounded different. It wasn't just another landing, it was the end of one of the most mentally exhausting endurance challenges ever attempted in the creator economy. The cabin doors opened, fresh air rushed inside. Stepping onto solid ground felt almost emotional. Something most people do thousands of times without thinking suddenly became unforgettable. The $250,000 prize was real, but something even more valuable had been earned: perspective. Because surviving 30 days trapped in the sky revealed a truth that applies far beyond airplanes. Most people believe success is about dramatic moments: the huge breakthrough, the viral video, the winning investment, the massive promotion. But real success usually comes from surviving thousands of ordinary moments when quitting feels easier than continuing. Every business eventually faces long periods where growth slows. Every entrepreneur experiences sleepless nights wondering if the dream is collapsing. Every investor watches markets fall and questions every decision. Every creator wonders if anyone is still watching. The difference between winners and everyone else often isn't talent, it's endurance. This challenge also exposed another powerful lesson about money. People saw a $250,000 prize and imagined easy wealth, but they rarely calculated the hidden cost. 30 days away from normal life, constant stress, physical discomfort, mental exhaustion, risk, pressure, opportunity cost. Every dollar has a price attached to it. Sometimes that price isn't measured in cash, it's measured in time, energy, relationships, and peace of mind. That's the part success stories rarely show. People admire the reward, few ask what it truly cost. The challenge became a perfect metaphor for business itself. The outside world only notices the celebration at the end. They don't see the sleepless nights, the fear of failure, the countless small decisions, the sacrifices nobody applauds, or the invisible battles fought when nobody is watching. And maybe that's why millions couldn't stop watching. It wasn't really about an airplane. It wasn't even about the money. It was about witnessing what happens when an ordinary person commits to something so difficult that every single day demands a new version of themselves. Because somewhere deep inside, everyone wonders the same thing. If everything familiar disappeared, if comfort vanished, if quitting always remained one easy decision away, would you keep going? Or would you give up just before your life was about to change forever?